Hello and welcome to Startup Street. I'm Shruti Mishra and with me is Ritu Singh from the Bangalore studio. These are the top headlines from the startup space. Dharna Capital, an offshoot of Y Capital, has raised $250 million for its second India-focused vehicle to back tech and consumer businesses. With the new fund, its total assets under management are at $450 million.
AI-native finance platform Bluecopa raises $7.5 million in a Series A funding round led by Analog and Bloom Ventures. It clocks 5 times revenue growth in 2025.
Artisanal coffee startup Good Farmer Food Concepts raises $1.5 million in an ongoing pre-Series A round, adds Rahul Dravid, Rohan Bopanna to the cap table. The funds will be used to expand presence and invest in R&D.
Inframarket, an online marketplace for construction materials, reported a 27% year-on-year increase in consolidated revenues for FY25, even as its net profit declined 42%. The firm's revenue from operations stood at 18,472 crore rupees, compared with about 14,500 odd a year ago.
SaaS firm BrowserStack has announced a $125 million ESOP and share buyback program for its employees and early investors. The company's third buyback program will benefit more than 500 current and former employees, along with early backers. Well, those were the headlines we are tracking for you this evening on What's Brewing Today. CFOs are expected to deliver real-time numbers, zero-error reporting and faster decisions, even as most finance systems remain stuck in fragmented manual workflows and month-end fire drills. A new wave of AI-native startups is now trying to change that. One of them is Bluecopa, a Hyderabad-based enterprise fintech that has just raised $7.5 million in Series A funding to build what it calls autonomous finance operations, where reconciliations, closes, payables, and reporting run themselves continuously and in real time. With marquee enterprise customers, global expansion plans, and investors backing what could be a multi-billion-dollar shift in the CFO tech stack, Bluecopa is betting big on the future of enterprise finance. Joining me now is Raghavendra Reddy, the co-founder and COO of Bluecopa. Raghavendra, welcome to Startup Street. You've seen 5x revenue growth and 3x customer growth in 2025. Most enterprises already have, ERPS, accounting software and BI tools. So what's fundamentally broken in the way finance teams operate today?
Hi, Shruti. Firstly, thank you so much for having me on the show. It's not about, lack of systems in the current ecosystem, right? It's how disconnected the whole tech stack is as we speak. Right? ERPs are probably very good from a system of record standpoint. You have BI tools which would help you from a hindsight standpoint. But even today, finance teams spend almost 70 to 80% of their time on manual, repetitive tasks. That's where Bluecopa likes to make a dent. That's all happening because of the batch process that the current tech stack currently offers. Right. So the world is moving towards continuous finance operations, which is where again Bluecopa comes in. The intent is to make the whole operations of finance very, very autonomous.
Okay.
Like I said, right, that's where a huge distinction comes between ERPs, BI tools versus Bluecopa as we speak.
So autonomous finance sounds futuristic, Raghavendra. In fact, you claim Bluecopa can automate 90% of reconciliations and enable a continuous close. How radical a shift is that from the monthly fire drill model finance teams live with today? And how will the Series A accelerate what Bluecopa builds over the next 18 months?
It's definitely, a foundational shift, I would say. As we speak, still a lot of companies do a lot of month-end drill. From there, moving towards, continuous close is definitely going to be a bigger shift as we speak. 90% of the automation is definitely something that we want to attain, and we are going very, very aggressively towards that direction. Right, coming to how we plan to deploy the funds over the next 12 to 18 months, we would want to deploy across 3 areas largely. One is doubling down on our AI side investments, particularly on the foundational model. The second is the expansion. Today we have marquee customers across Asia, Middle East, and US.
Yeah.
We want to double down using the current capital plus using some of the logos that we currently have. And finally, to do all of this, you will need to have a very strong leadership team, which is where significant capital again would go. So largely these 3 areas is where we would spend, Shruti.
Okay. A lot of enterprise software companies are bolting AI on top of old systems. Why did you choose to rebuild the entire data backbone instead? And what is your proprietary AI engine at Samix AI do that traditional finance automation tools can't?
So AI is only as good as the underneath data, right? So the problem with the legacy tools is that they would not be able to support real-time data, real-time decision making, or AI native actions. So which is where we are imagining the whole data layer itself, right? Bluecopa, what it does is gives 100% of the data that finance teams need in a very clean, normalized, and decision-friendly fashion.
Sure.
There's no other option but to reimagine the whole data layer itself. And coming specifically to this Amex A that you mentioned, the difference between Samix A and any other generic A is that Samix A is purpose built for finance function, right? It understands finance context.
Okay.
For example, if there's a reconciliation that happens from a finance function standpoint, it doesn't just tell you what is reconciled, what is unreconciled, right? It gives you actions that you can take. It tells you based on your past, activities that you would have done, based on some of the best industry practices, for example. It takes a lot of functional aspect into the traditional or generic AI model. So it's purpose built for finance function,
All right.
which is where it would definitely create a lot of dent, I would say, in the CFO tech stack.
Sure. Raghavendra, you work with customers, including a Fortune 50 global retailer and large digital native companies. What kind of transformation are they seeing after switching to Bluecopa? What kind of improvement in efficiency do you bring to the table? If you could also take us to the current business growth numbers quickly.
Sure. So last 2025, our revenue increased by about 5x. Our customer base, went up by 3x. That also shows that largely once we get into any account, expansion is what we strongly see in any account that we get into. That also shows it's not just an experimentation that customers are looking for. It's also the operational adoption that Bluecopa caters to. Right, in terms of the in terms of the transformation that we see, right, largely again around three areas. The first is cutting down the whole record to report cycle itself. Right, today we think it is anywhere between 40 to 50% that we bring it down to. Second is significantly enhancing the overall efficiency of the finance function per se. We claim 50% increase in the efficiency, right, and I'm sure that will keep going up as we move towards AI-side investments. And finally, anything that you do in finance function needs to be 100% audited, right? It needs to be compliance ready. I can assure you that finance leaders with a platform like ours can ensure the whole processes are 100% compliant, which means listed companies also get to see what they would need from a compliance standpoint, 100%.
Okay. One final question. Analysts estimate the autonomous finance market could reach $27 to $57 billion by 2030. There's huge potential. In fact, you're now expanding across APAC, North America, and the Middle East. Raghavendra, what's the kind of demand you're seeing currently? And 5 years from now, how different will the role of the CFO look if autonomous finance takes off?
So particularly coming to autonomous finance, we see very strong demand, particularly from APAC, North American and Middle East markets. Within these markets also, we see a lot of interest from enterprises and GCCs in particular. So I'm pretty sure that mid-market, higher end of mid-market enterprise is where the game is going to be, right? And particularly 5 years from now, if you ask me how does the whole finance function or CFOs activities would look like, I can guarantee you that it's moving away from data heavy or reconciliation heavy approach to decision making approach. You will also see a lot of noise which will get cut down around data and reconciliations, and a lot of time is going to be spent on strategy, capital allocation, risk mitigation, for example, valuation increase, for example. It's going to be more on value creation versus a lot today, which is spent on data and management around data aspects, Shruti.
All right. On that note, it's time for me to wrap up our conversation. Raghavendra, many thanks for joining us on Startup Street, and wish you the best with all your growth plans.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
All right, and what else is brewing today? Futurecure Health, which is a healthcare technology company that focuses on super specialty care, it has mopped up 104 crore rupees in a funding that was led by Carnelian Asset Management and others. Now, the company says this funding will help it expand access to the diagnosis and treatment of vertigo. Now, Futurecure runs Neuro Equilibrium, which is its wholly owned subsidiary. It operates around 300 clinics in India and in 16 other countries. And it says it has enabled diagnosis and treatment for over 150,000 patients so far. For more on the company's growth trajectory, joining me now is Rajneesh Bhandari, who's the founder of Neuro Equilibrium. Rajneesh, thank you so much for joining us here on Startup Street. Just for the benefit of our viewers, start by telling us a bit about your company and the gap that you found in this vertigo treatment market, very niche, very specialized, that you're trying to bridge, and therefore the size of the market opportunity you're chasing.
So thank you for having me on this show. So vertigo dizziness is something which affects a very large population. So 15% of the population will have vertigo dizziness sometime in their lifetime. And 5% have vertigo dizziness in any given year. So it's more than diabetes or cardiac disease. And what is happening is that suppressants are given to suppress the symptoms rather than finding out the underlying cause and treating it. So we found this gap. We developed the diagnostic equipment, and we have set up clinics in India and across the world.
All right. Interesting space there, Rajneesh. But in terms of this funding, what will be the priority for deploying this money? I mean, could you give us specifically how you're going to utilize it?
Correct. So we would be expanding in India and outside India. So 500 clinics in India and about 200 clinics outside India. And with that, we also will be getting the regulatory approvals in US, which is the next frontier for us, and also expanding to other lifestyle diseases like diabetes and migraine.
Okay. And just to be clear, this entire money that you raised, does it go to your wholly owned subsidiary, Neuro Equilibrium itself?
Yeah. So it will be used in Neuro Equilibrium for expanding vertigo and dizziness, and for the lifestyle diseases like diabetes and migraine. Futurecure will be doing the expansion itself.
Got it. Just in terms of how you're expanding since you started in 2015, currently Neuro Equilibrium, I think, operates in 300 clinics in India, and there are 16 other countries where you're present. At what pace will this expansion continue now that you have this funding? And any new markets you're looking to tap into?
Correct. So we'll be adding about 100 clinics every year for the next 2 years, so go to 500 clinics in India. And outside India, we are looking at, so we are already in countries like Australia, Japan, UK, Netherlands, etc., Middle East. Now we would be applying for regulatory approval, and US would be our next target.
All right, that's a big market you're targeting. But just to give us a sense again, does India contribute the most when it comes to your revenues versus whatever you're getting overseas? And what will be your fastest growing markets?
So as of now, India contributes the maximum. About 1.5 years back, we started going overseas, and we got the regulatory approval for all these countries, including Europe, the CE approval, Australia, Japan, etc. So going forward, let's say 3 years from now, it will be 50% would be revenue from India, and the other 50% would be overseas.
All right, so that's a 50-50 mix in India and overseas revenues. But since you said you're looking to get approvals to launch into the American market as well, that's a heavily competitive zone. If you could give us a sense of the timelines that this approval would take for you to start operating there, and the US market alone, how big an opportunity is that for the company?
So I think as it is for every other product and service, US is the biggest market. And it has the highest reimbursement, so to say, that comes. So it's a very lucrative market. Having said that, Europe, Middle East, and Asia also are very important markets for us. And of course, India will remain the fulcrum where we have the maximum number of clinics and the maximum number of patients being treated.
All right. So that's the next cue to watch out for. But Rajneesh, given that you raised funding from institutional investors, and these players, they do expect a return on their investment, and the key metric for them to track is profitability. So could you give us a sense of how fast the business has grown? Are you profitable, and the targets that you have both for the top line and bottom line growth with the kind of expansion you have planned to 500 clinics in the next few years?
Correct. So this year we plan to break even, and we should reach a turnover of about 100 crores next year.
Okay, break even this year and 100 crores next year. Finally, before we let you go, for other entrepreneurs out there that are watching your journey, perhaps are interested in this space, what is the longer term plan? I mean, or if in another way, what is the next milestone for us to look forward to? And are there adjacent opportunities that are also emerging that you may look to cater to, apart from being super specialized in the vertigo treatment, of course?
So our thesis is that the specialist doctors are in short supply. Just to give you an example, for diabetes, we have 70 million diabetic patients in India and just about 900 endocrinologists. And this gap cannot be filled in by new doctors because we produce only about 90 endocrinologists a year. So the only solution is technology, which can be a force multiplier and can help democratize super specialty healthcare. So we would like to get into lifestyle diseases like diabetes, migraine, etc.
All right. And we wish you the best with those ventures that you have planned, Rajneesh. Thank you very much for your time here today and for speaking with us. Thank you.
Thank you for having me here. Thank you.
Well, with that, it's time for us to slip into a short break. But up next, brands like Nosh Robotics and Qualcomm take center stage at CES 2026, showcasing how AI is driving real-world transformation. Aishwarya Anand lists all the key innovations. Stay tuned.
If you've ever stood in your kitchen staring at ingredients, wondering, ab isse kya banega, CES has an answer for you. Meet Nosh, an AI-powered robot chef that's being showcased at CES 2026, and it might just be the closest thing yet to having a private chef who never takes a day off. Now, think of Nosh like this. It's not a microwave, it's not a mixer, and it's definitely not just another smart appliance. This is a fully automated cooking robot that
Welcome back. You're watching Startup Street. Now, at CES 2026, AI is moving from screens into the real world. Nosh, for instance, is showcasing a robotic kitchen assistant that can cook more than 500 dishes automatically, customized for your taste. Meanwhile, Qualcomm has unveiled its Dragon Wing IQ10 platform, which is designed to power the next generation of humanoid and autonomous robots, signaling a major push into physical AI. Aishwarya Anand is here with a ground report from CES.
At CES 2026, Qualcomm made a big, very clear bet on the future of robotics with the launch of Dragon Wing IQ10, a new platform designed specially to power humanoid robots and autonomous machines. Dragon Wing IQ10 is essentially a robot-first brain. Now, unlike traditional chips built for phones or PCs, this one is designed to handle what robots need most: real-time vision, sensor fusion, motion control, and AI decision-making, all on the device itself without relying on the cloud. That's critical because robots can't wait for internet responses when they're walking, lifting objects, or navigating around people. According to Qualcomm, the platform can process multiple camera feeds and sensors at once, helping robots understand their surroundings, plan movements, and react instantly. The company is positioning Dragon Wing IQ10 as a foundation for what it calls physical AI, intelligence that doesn't just think, but acts in the real world. At CES, Qualcomm showcased humanoid robots and autonomous systems running on this platform, underlining its ambition to become the go-to chip maker for next-generation robotics, much like it already is for smartphones. And then came a moment that stole the show. During the live demo, the humanoid robot briefly malfunctioned. It paused, froze, and needed a reset before continuing. No chaos, just a very human pause. Honestly, it felt fitting because if robots are going to act like humans, a small malfunction once in a while might just be part of the deal. From CES 2026, this is Aishwarya Anand for CNBC TV18, where even the future of robotics has its off days. If you've ever stood in your kitchen staring at ingredients, wondering, ab isse kya banega, CES has an answer for you. Meet Nosh, an AI-powered robot chef that's being showcased at CES 2026, and it might just be the closest thing yet to having a private chef who never takes a day off. Now, think of Nosh like this. It's not a microwave, it's not a mixer, and it's definitely not just another smart appliance. This is a fully automated cooking robot that combines robotics, artificial intelligence, and food science into one sleek countertop device. You load in the ingredients, pick a recipe, and that's it. Nosh takes over. And here's where it gets interesting. And just like a human chef uses their eyes to know when onions have browned or when a sauce is just right, Nosh uses an onboard camera and AI vision to track every step of the cooking process. It knows when something is cooked, when to stir, when to move on, all without you lifting a spoon. And yes, it cooks over 500 dishes, from Indian curries and Chinese stir-fries to Italian pasta, Mexican bowls, and Korean favorites. New recipes are added every week, but the most 2026 part, you don't even need to be in the kitchen. Using an app, you can tell Nosh to start cooking while you're at the gym, on a walk, or stuck in traffic, and come home to a freshly cooked meal. No reminders, no timers, no panic calls home. And unlike food delivery apps, Nosh actually learns your taste. Like it's spicy, less oil, extra garlic. You can tweak recipes to match how you like your food, and not an algorithm thinks how you should. What is the most difficult Indian recipe you've had to feed into your robot, and what's been the most difficult process of it?
Yeah, so most interesting recipe and the difficult one is the biryani.
So how have you priced this for the customers?
So in India, currently it's at 75,000 rupees. Gradually it will go higher, but our early bird price is at, gradually it will be around at 90,000 to 1 lakh.
Now, the startup says that this is the result of 6 years of R&D and so far more than 1,000 families have already cooked 25,000 plus meals using Nosh. Online creators can't get enough of it. Videos have clocked tens of millions of organic views simply because watching a robot cook is oddly satisfying. So at CES, while everyone's talking about AI phones, smart glasses, Nosh is asking a simpler question. What if AI just cooked dinner for you?
Well, with that, it's a wrap from Ritu and me, Shruti, on this edition of Startup Street. More news and updates coming up on the other side. Stay tuned.